Yes, we can see it.
Yes, we
We're
can
talking,
see it.
when we're talking about the treasure trove of speeches, question I have for all of you. When you start Toastmasters, when you first do your icebreaker, as we saw tonight, and then you do project 2, 3, and 4 in level 1, and then you go to level 2, where are you going to get your ideas from? Where do they come from? You just grab them out of the sky or travel to Mars and get one? Or where do you go to get your ideas for your speeches? The questions I get asked more often is, Michael, how do I come up with a speech? Where does it come from? And you know, it's between your ears. That's where the treasure trove is between your ears. What you have to realize is that as a person in Toastmasters, you're going to have to come up with a lot of different stories and say a lot of different things. When you do that, you need to be prepared. And where are you going to find them? Well, first of all, you need to know your material. When you start to give your speeches, people don't want to see you wandering all over. They don't want to hear the ums, the ahs. They don't want to hear you repeat yourself. They want to hear something interesting. And something you need to think about is, are you adding value for your customer? Your customer during that time is your audience. Are you giving them value? Well, you should talk on a topic that you know very, very well. What topic do all of you know very, very well? Just think about it for a moment. I'm going to pause and let you think. What topic do you know the best? The topic is you. You know yourself better than anybody else. Let me give you an example. If everybody will participate with me, what I'd like for you to do right now is to close your eyes. Close your eyes. And I want you to think, when is the first time that your mother or father yelled at you or you got in trouble at home for doing something? We've all done it as a child. Keep your eyes closed. Think about, what did I get in trouble for at home when I was a kid? Now open your eyes. Okay? Did you think of something? Probably so. We all did it. You can talk about that. And if you don't want to talk about something bad, let me give you something good to talk about. We'll try that exercise one more time. Close your eyes. I want you to think about, when was the first time that a boy or girl kissed you, your very first kiss? Keep your eyes closed. Do you remember it? Now open your eyes. Okay? All of us had a first kiss, right? There's probably nobody in the group here that didn't have at least a first kiss. We all did. So where do you get your ideas from for your speeches? It comes from inside your head. Your head is full of stories, and you need to take actions in order to get there. In order to get there, you're going to have to think about these things. These are all possibilities. What about your childhood? You know, when you're growing up, sometimes you have a colleague. You know, if you're a girl, you have a girlfriend. If you're a boy, you have a boyfriend. And sometimes you get in a fight, or you argue, or you do something good, some sports events or something. Young childhood, and I'm talking about 5 to 15, in that range. If you close your eyes and think about it, you can think of something that happened to you during 5 to 15 years old. Just write a note. Don't have to write the whole story right now. Just write a note to yourself. And then you're in high school and then college. Oh boy, don't tell me that you didn't have any stories from high school or college. Excuse me. I'm sure you have some high school stories. Something went wrong, your worst teacher, your best teacher, some sporting event in high school. In college, that young man that tried to chase after you, the young lady that tried to chase after you, all these things happen. And if you just write a note in your journal about this, and doesn't have to be a long story, these are ideas. So now let's say that you're writing in your journal and now you're thinking, I'm a little bit older. You're past 25. You got your first job. When you got your first job, who was your best boss? And if you had multiple jobs, who was your worst boss? If you're in Toastmasters and you've been in Toastmasters for a while, who's the best mentor you ever had? And for some of us, we get married. You can talk about before marriage and during marriage. If you married a long time and then get divorced, you can talk about divorce or something that happened. All these things you see on the screen are ideas for stories. All you need to do is get that journal. Now, I've got my journal here. This is my journal. And I was out of Toastmasters for 25 years. And I just came back to Toastmasters in June of 2020. And when I did, I went my first pathway. And I'm starting to think, what am I going to write about? What am I going to talk about? Where is that treasure trove of ideas that I need to do speeches? And then I started thinking, oh, I remember, I used to be in Toastmasters before. What did I write about? I got out my journal and I started with my first memory. My first memory was when I was 5 years old. I was sitting out in front of the house. My older brother's girlfriend and I were building daisy chains out of little pieces of grass and flower we found and made necklaces and bracelets. That was my first memory. I can remember when I put my foot in my brother's spoke of his bicycle and it tore my big toe off. Not all the way, but almost. Terrible. I remember my first baseball game when I was up to bat and I struck out and how embarrassed I was. So that was my beginning. In high school, I was a skinny guy. I was 72 centimeters tall and only 49 kilo. I had many embarrassing times there. Some of you have heard me speak and you heard me talking about giving one girl a flower and kissing a different girl. Those things happen. What happened to you in your life? This is where you're going to find your treasure trove of ideas. Get out your journal and just start writing a few dates. And I prefer to do it on ages. You can do it by years, however you wish to do it, but write down some ideas. What are your hobbies? What hobbies do you have? Build that journal. Build that journal of hobbies, activities, best boss, worst boss, favorite girlfriend, worst girlfriend, favorite boyfriend, worst boss, best boss. All these are good ideas for you to come up with speeches. Also, you need to update those stories. Once you have written and put some notes in there, go back, think about which speech you're giving during your pathway, where you're going to do it, and then go in and grab one of those stories and update it, put more information, build it up to something a little bit bigger. Now, when I'm writing speeches, and you're going to have to do this, I normally start out with about 1,000 words, about 3 pages almost, on a regular size A4 sheet of typing. Then I cut it in half to about 500 words. Then I edit it. I don't edit it until I've cut it. Then after I cut it, then I'm going to start reading it out loud. How long does it take? And I have found that for me, for Michael Wader, about 650 words is that 6.5 to 7 minute range for me. So I know that's how many I need. I update that story to be a little bit bigger, but I don't want too long, because some of you who know me know that I like to speak too long, especially in contests. It gets me in trouble. You got to cut it shorter. So cut it down, update it. Also, listen to other speakers. How many speakers have you listened to in the past year? Now, we know someone like Eliza or Shang or Rebecca or myself. We've been traveling all over the world on Zoom Airlines going to meetings. We have heard a lot of speakers. Did any of them give you ideas that you thought about, oh, I could talk about that? Oh, this is something interesting. You can do that. You can listen to other people's speeches, not copy them, but get an idea about something they talked about. We heard that Patrick Wee, we heard him talk about his gardening. He decided during the pandemic time he wanted to plant flowers. He talked a lot about that. Good subject. That's his hobby. We talked to another person who wanted to go swimming more often and spend more time in the water. That's their hobby. Talk about it. You see, when people tell me that, Michael, I don't have the stories, I don't have ideas, what they're really telling me is, Michael, I don't know what I'm doing. That's factual. But you can do it. You can do it. You can be a very interesting speaker and you can entertain your audience. And you need to do that by practicing, practicing, and practicing over, and over. But what you're going to practice is first digging into your journal, getting a story, writing it, making it shorter, timing yourself, and then practice the delivery. You know, the world is a smorgasbord of ideas, and most people are starving to death. I will repeat that. The world is a smorgasbord of ideas, and most people are starving to death. There's so many ideas out there for you to speak on. Just look at your journal, pick one out, elaborate on it, update it, and then you can deliver it. And when you deliver it, you're going to get it right, because who knows your story better than you? No one. No one knows your story better than you. And even if it's not 100% true, that's okay. You can tell your story a little bit differently, maybe add some little color, a little flash to it. That's fine. That's not a problem. You can do that. It's legal, because nobody knows what you're going to say except for you. And then you just deliver it. And if you're afraid to speak, then one of the best ways to speak is to talk about yourself. Tonight, we heard an icebreaker. What did she talk about? Herself. Did she make a few mistakes? Sure. She's a beginning speaker. She's going to get better. She's going to do well in the future. I know she will. But she talked about herself. So as you go forward, keep talking about yourself. Talk about your own stories, and it's going to make you a much, much better speaker. You will be much more successful. Madam Toastmaster, back to you.
Yay. Let's give a big round of applause of Michael. So we will have 5-minute Q&A. To start the ball rolling, Michael, I have a question for you. After we have our own story, right? We create the story bank. How we can find first the message? Let's say I got about the first kiss. What message? What important message that we can share? And then in terms of creating title, the interesting title, how we can come up with that?
Close your eyes. How did the first kiss feel? How did the first kiss feel?
It's great.
Was it good? Was it good or was it bad?
It's good. It's good. That's why
Okay.
it's more.
And did it make you feel good?
It makes me happy.
Very good. Okay, so there's part of your subject. You want to talk about being happy. And if you're talking about happy, you can pick something out of your childhood or something about your teenage years that made you happy. And talk about that. That can be your subject. People want to be happy right now, especially during this COVID time. People are so sad, so depressed, so uptight. They need to relax and they need to laugh a little bit. Talk about something happy. Talk about something funny. Okay. And Becca, you're a good speaker already, and you know you need to engage your audience. Just like I did tonight, I asked you to close your eyes and get involved. So when you're going to ask somebody, when you're going to tell somebody about being happy, ask them something that's going to make them happy. Remember, you need to add value for your audience. So you pick a topic, you pick a feeling that you want to come up with, emotion. I want to be angry at somebody, or I want to make somebody laugh, whatever it may be. And then you figure out how you're going to pass that on to the audience. This short workshop that I'm giving tonight, this 10-minute workshop, is not long enough for me to go in all the details that you're asking. But those are some ideas. You look at your story, close your eyes and picture it. What was it like for me to sit on the lawn with my older brother's girlfriend and make flower bracelets and necklaces. What was the feeling? Happiness, joy, comfort. I can talk about those things. Okay?
Okay. Thank you, Michael. We have another question. Yeah, we have another question from Anna. She asks how to deliver a complicated topic in limited time. So for example, 5 to 7 minutes.
That was not part of tonight's workshop. That would take me another 20 minutes to explain that to you, Anna, because that's another workshop. But I'll tell you what you do. When it's a complicated subject, you write it out first. Without ever practice speaking it, write it out first. Whatever you have, cut it in half and throw half away because it's too long. Make it shorter. When you have a complicated subject, you need to remember the KISS. Keep it simple speaker, KISS. Keep it simple speaker. So if you cut your speech in half and you have fewer words, you will slow down and explain in detail only about the amount of things you're speaking. If you got a longer speech, you don't have time for all that detail. So cut it in half, whatever's left. You can expand that just a little bit. It's always easier when you see the yellow light to come on to talk for another 30 seconds. That's easy. But when you see the red light come on and you're only halfway through your speech, that's going to be a problem. So I take that. So especially when it's a serious topic, I write it and then I cut half and throw half away. And then what's left over, I give and try to give in good detail with simple terms. I hope that helps.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Next question.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Hey, Michael. So you mentioned that we can spice up a bit for our own story, but then we can also do like a totally fictional stories to share, something that we just came out with.
Sure, for sure. I'm a member of a storytellers Toastmasters club in Doha, Qatar, and I'm going to be giving a story in about 2 weeks over there as a speech. And what I have done is I've taken King Arthur and I've taken Chaucer, who's an author, and I took a story out of Chaucer and the King Arthur story, and I'm putting them together. Never happened before. Never been put together before. Two entirely different stories. So let's say here, are you Chinese? Yeah. Okay, and you speak Mandarin?
A little bit.
Okay, so when you want to give a speech and you want to explain something that's fictional, you can give a speech about this. 勇士老虎，勇士老虎，跑得快，跑得快，也是没有。You can pick a song and make a fictional story out of the song. A little tiger running around, got no ears, got no tail, whatever. Make a fictional story. It's perfectly okay. Remember, the primary thing you want is when you are speaking, you want to give your audience value. So you give them something that will make them smile, something that's going to make them think, something that they're going to be interested in hearing, like when you do your research and presenting speech in your pathway. Give them a research subject that they're going to like. I just heard one recently, a guy did on Bitcoins. Very interesting for everybody because everybody wanted to know a little bit more about Bitcoin. So you can do fiction, you can do any of those. It's up to you.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay, Michael, last question.
Yeah,
last question. It's from Aziza. She asks how to overcome the vulnerability or share our bad moment that happened in our life for inspirational speech, especially that cause trauma. Maybe what she want to say, if you want to share something that's vulnerable, how you share it to make it inspirational for the member or for the participant or the, yeah.
I got it. I understand. Aziza, you need to cry. I'm not joking. I'm serious about this. I just saw one in Toronto last week. A lady was talking about it. She was from the Philippines. and the folks came in and tore up her city, her town, or whatever, and she had to evacuate. And she went to Iran. When she got to Iran, she couldn't live there. They took her passport. She had one child. Her husband wasn't with her. She was crying. And then she picked up and she moved to Canada. She rebuilt her whole life. Now she's a successful Toastmaster, successful business person. But when you seen that she left the Philippines and went to Iran and then was in that situation, she didn't have tears running down, but you could tell her eyes were red and she was ready to cry. She was emotional. Tell it with feeling, you know? If somebody in a family dies or somebody has an accident and you lose a child or you lose a brother, it's terrible. Show that emotion, you know? It really hurt me when that happened. I was destroyed. I was tore down to nothing. I had to completely rebuild. It just was terrible. But I did rebuild because I moved, I met new people, and now I'm happy again. So you can get very emotional on the screen. Don't be afraid of crying. Nothing wrong with that. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Rebecca,
you so much, Michael.
thank you all very much for allowing me to be here this evening. And I hope that I've given you a few ideas where to find some stories. I don't know if you all have a journal, but I certainly recommend that you write one, start one, put your stories down, and then give those speeches. You will find you'll do a good job because you will be talking about you. Thank you. Rebecca, back to you. You're muted, Becca.
I'm still muted.
You're okay now. No, you're okay now.
Okay, thank you. Thanks so much, Michael, for the insightful sharing that you give to us. Notes from me is, like you mentioned, the story is about us, and then we need also to give value to our audience, what's in it for them. So make sure when you craft your speech, you need to think about your audience, not only about you. Yes, Michael? Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Michael. We will have a certificate of appreciation for you, so don't go first. JJ, would you like to share the certificate appreciation for Michael?
Sure. Here it goes. No, not this one. Oh.
You changed my name. There you go.
There you go. So here,
Thank you.
thank you, Michael, for taking your time and effort for this club and for the open house event for the Speakers Lounge Club. So I'd like to deliver my appreciation and on behalf of the club. So Michael, hold on. I'd like to give you a unique once in a lifetime certificate. So now, Michael, give me your smile. 1, 2, 3. Got you. Thank you. And this will go to Facebook right away. So I'm going to stop live stream to Facebook and